DerbyKeys.com, New York Slider Shafts, Baldwin Racing Engines, Performance Rear Ends, and Chambliss Welding. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, coming to you live from Blizzard Bash 2014 at the Topeka Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. And now your host, Chris Markwood.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crash Course Live here, coming from trackside here at the Topeka Expo Center. Everything is all quiet right now as we prepare for the beginning of Blizzard Bash 2014. Tonight we've got the heats on deck. Josh Decker here at the table with me along with Brian Tompkins. Guys, are you ready for this? It's been a very busy morning here as the last bits of everything is cleaned up from the team program from last night.
I'm sick. I'm sick of.
Okay, here, Ron.
Go ahead. Thanks, Chris. It really hurts. No, I'm just. I've gotten. I've went out and walked around a couple times today to see the cars that are waiting for inspection today, and I'm just ready to see stuff get wrecked. I mean, there's so much incredible equipment here. So many great drivers. I'm just. The weight is it's starting to get.
Well, it was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock last night, and we're talking to each other, and it's like, man, we still got to wait another day to watch these. I mean, last night we were itching. I was itching, man, watching like when Team Guard was going through, like when, it was like a lot of stuff was going on, and it's like, man, I'm ready. I'm itching right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's been all sorts of a number of different changes that have transpired so far that have put us in a bit of a precarious situation for a couple different teams now, who are in not the greatest situation when you think about it. They are down a person. Jesse Asmussen, we already chronicled that, didn't make it. Dan backed off, stepped in to help them. Nick Erlacher now not going to be in competition for Team Kansas.
That's huge. I mean, that's.
And the thing is you got to feel it for the teammates. I mean, I don't know if Team Kansas has ever ran with 4 cars.
No,
I don't.
I mean, that's something that I heard when I was walking around out there. That I guess, and I don't know where this came from or anything along those lines, but I guess the statement was made that Chad Markley just wants to ensure their spot at this point for next year and not finish last in the B main. If they do run into problems in their matchups, ensure their spot in the main bracket for next year, because he just desperately wants to have the opportunity to run his home state show, home turf for Team Kansas.
Absolutely.
With a 4-car team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had heard a rumor that Team Kansas was down, and I was actually out talking with Troy Tagg, and I came back walking up through the one of the buildings here where they work on cars, and we were standing there talking, and I saw Jimmy Johnson sitting in his truck, and Jimmy I just assumed that Jimmy had his game face on because it's time to go, but then I heard that about losing a teammate before the show started, and then it kind of picked up. I understood and walked up through, and Jimmy gave me the head nod, and I kind of waved, and you could see
frustration.
Yeah, frustration, absolutely.
It sucks. I mean, you work so hard. You're a team. Guys can't forget that when you're a teammate, you got to be a teammate. You got to step up. You got to do the right thing. If you're even hesitant, don't do that to other people. I mean, you see so much. I'm not saying Nick Erlacher did it on purpose. I doubt it very much so.
Yeah.
But on the other hand of it, I mean, we've known about it for a whole year.
Yep.
You got to get your car done, man. Especially when you're on a team like that. I mean, we know some of the backstories of how hard guys work to get. As you see every year, guys switch teammates and stuff. And trust me, there's a lot of back dealings and hanging out and talking and shaking hands because everyone wants this guy and I want this guy, and you're trying to jockey to get this guy someday to be on your team. And Kansas is one of the top teams here, and then to be a man down. Jimmy was excited, to say the least, I think, when he was thinking, I'm going to go out there this year with 4 of us. I feel bad. I feel bad for him. You can imagine the wind coming out of his sails when it's like, no, you're back down to 3, and it's like, son of a, every time I'm here.
But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he's, I'm sure there's that shock and disappointment, but there's also the fact that, hey, I've done it before, and I'm going to go out and do it again. I mean, I talked to him for a minute last night, and I said, at this stage, do you get the excitement? Do you get the butterflies? He said, nope. It's just like a day at the office.
Yes.
I'm here to do a job, and but I've talked to other guys, and they seem to be the same way.
I can say that about a county fair. I go to county fair derbies nowadays, and I don't even, I just hop in and go. But at this level, and you're going to be on TV, and people are going to be watching you, and every driver that you know is here, and promoter, and inspector, and...
But the thing is they've been doing it for so long. You know what I mean? I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jimmy's been in every Blizzard Bash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's ran the biggest derbies in America. I mean, I think it's, with repetition, it's like anything else. It becomes kind of like a second nature.
Sure.
So he expects to come here, and he expects the competition.
Sure. I understand, and he knows what he's looking. I know what you're saying. There's no butterflies in the sense of not knowing what you're running into, because you've been here so many times. It's virtually a hometown track.
Oh, absolutely.
After 4 or 5 years, it's like, okay, I got this track down to a science right now. I know the tires I need. I know the gears I need, that kind of stuff.
And we talked a little bit about knowing the track and everything, about how the track looks a little bit different. They are packed hard. Very hard.
Hit a backhoe with a packer on it. It was just a jackhammer.
I'm here to tell you, if they applied a little bit of heat, I think they would seriously, honestly turn into like an Adobe, like what they build out of. I really do. I mean, it's
hard.
It's hard right now, and a little bit of heat, I think it bakes solid, and it would be as hard as concrete. But
and the backside of that is not only hitting it, but let's say you hit it and the corner of your bumper gets driven into that pile. It's the weight of it, the hardness of it. It's gonna be really hard to get yourself rocking out of that spot. You get hung up, but just a little bit, you're stuck right there. Your car, there's no movement in that dirt.
No, you're packed pretty tight.
And let's say for instance, if that happens down here in this far corner, the corner closest to us, at the other end of the track is Mike Brown. I mean, he's not gonna feel sorry for you.
And he will bend that car.
Absolutely, he's gonna, his rear bumper is gonna touch the far corner, and he's gonna hit you wide open from the.
I hope that hit happens.
Absolutely.
I hope that hit
happens. But
last year there was some really good shots, and it's exciting that there are going to be. We've talked to a lot of guys that said, "I'm here to go wide open."
Oh yeah.
Now the backside of that is, you say that, but when you pull out there, it's a big nasty track. Do you still got the balls to keep on the track that's big? You can say you're going to go wide open, but you make some of them, especially how hard these cars are.
But the thing is, though,
rattling you.
I think you have to, because if you
lift,
somebody else is gonna.
Yeah, if you're not keeping up the same pace as everybody else, you're a target.
Absolutely.
That's blood in the water, man.
Absolutely.
Blood in the water.
That's what I believe. But
obviously, you're noticing one member of our cast is not here. There's an open seat, right? Assumption. Another guy that we didn't talk about in the show, Open. One of the Open, his car off the trailer.
He hit some screws that were in there with an Allen head, and they went into the case and they loosened it. They backed out. So actually, what's happening was the nuts were hitting on his slider nuts and kind of locking it up. So the negative is he stripped out 2 of them. The positive is he tightened the heck out of the other 2. So.
And Kenny Rosen also had a rough day coming down here yesterday. He
3 tires.
3 tires. The third one.
And he
finally
cracked his
made it.
windshield.
Yeah, he
had a long day.
And I asked him. I said, "Now, did you just leave the chip out this year?" Or he said, "No, he put a little bit more in it, and he can still reach the chip and remove it if need be." So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's probably going to live up to his WFO banner on his car.
We saw Randy Maslowski today.
Yep,
got a chance to talk with him about what's coming up with Napa Winter Slam, and then after that we'll get and talk a little about the elephant in the room, the giant green background that's behind us, because we got to allude to that a little bit. Talk with Randy Maslowski. They have over 100 cars already registered for Winter Slam next year. Already.
And has it been open a month?
It opened. If I remember right, it opened the 1st of November.
That's what I thought. So it's been 2 weeks, just under 3.
Think of that.
And he was very complimentary of the Crash Course and Derby Inc. magazine and Smashed Empire Films, asking us to come back and do all of that stuff, and said that more than half of the drivers registered are new to Winter Slam. And said that that's based off the exposures that they got last year, which was a huge compliment for us, and we can't say thanks enough. It was really great to hear that.
And I'll tell you what, the guys that have signed up, the new guys that have never been there before, I'm telling you, you're going to have a great day. It really is a good derby. It's fun. It's something different.
It's great.
Dress warm. But other than that, it's really a fun derby. So you'll enjoy it. And that's very cool that they're getting all new guys. I mean, that's really neat, because think about your hometown, Brian. Wouldn't it be awesome if it just all of a sudden got flooded with new people wanting to join to run it? It would bring a lot of excitement
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty cool for Winter Slam.
Absolutely.
Because they already got their core guys.
Yeah.
But now you got guys saying, like, no, I'm ready to pay first before the core guys. I mean, that's how hot guys are to get into that show, and that's very cool.
Absolutely. And I mean, that was a great show. I mean, from the first heat to the last heat, it was action. And as we mentioned, the trucks had a little bit of a hard time because they were, because of the build, and they weren't able to get. But it wasn't from a lack of.
The trucks had a hard time, all right.
It wasn't from a lack of trying. I mean, those guys were on the floor. It just they weren't able. But I mean, everything else was just there was junk made. I mean, the guy that got the heavy hitter award in the compact.
Hang on one second. What's that?
You got an extension cord we can try to plug into?
Can we finish our show first?
Yeah.
Thanks. So to talk about what's going on here in the background, we've got this giant green sheet behind us. They needed us to have all our equipment set up basically so we could go through rehearsals and get everything ready to go for the pay-per-view tonight. This sheet behind us is a green screen. So basically, when you watch the pay-per-view, we're going to be sitting at, we're going to be sitting at a desk. You're going to see overlays and graphics and stuff behind us. They got a couple different options in terms of how wide the shots are going to be. It's pretty bright up here, but once the arena lights come on, it'll tone that down a little bit. But I'm wondering what Sam's going to think about the giant glowing cave in the side of this when he asks you for the arena to go dark, and the only thing that doesn't go dark is our corner of the Kansas Expo Center.
Corner of heaven.
Brian's head will be just glowing.
Well, I'm thinking about going back and shaving it again, so it really has that nice
wax it.
Well, last night we talked to Jimmy Johnson. Again, just to recap, Nick Urlacher from Team Kansas did not report at time. 8 o'clock deadline was his cutoff, and he did not report. He was not on the ground, so that car will not be in competition. Team Kansas down a car again here for Blizzard Bash 2014. Jimmy, when we talked to him last night, seemed like he was in pretty good shape. He said he didn't have a whole lot more to do except for put another coat of turtle wax on it, and he was ready to go.
Absolutely. Just like when Josh Drescher, Doctor shows up at the show.
No one cares.
A little bit of wax, he's ready to go.
Bunch of booze.
Had a chance to talk with Troy Tagg this morning. Congratulations to him.
Eric and Andrew, they're all there.
I mentioned it to him that we didn't. He actually got second in that derby.
Right, he got second.
I still wanted to bet. We mentioned it.
We wanted to make a point of that, but we did miss that. And happy birthday today to Matt Greschel.
Yep. For 40 years old, I think. Right?
Yeah, I believe so. He might be close. He was flying out. I believe he told me 11 o'clock, so he's got to be getting close to being on grounds.
Yeah.
I would think. Flying from North Carolina, Charlotte. Well,
yeah, 3 hours.
Charlotte, if he flew from Atlanta.
So how about some of the politicking that was still being done this morning? Sam Bandow's team didn't get across the inspection ramps until this morning, like 8 o'clock this morning.
There was 2 teams that didn't make it through last night.
And I can't remember what the other team was.
Blue
and yellow were all blue.
Blue and yellow was the Gomot team. Basically the other post-Movar team with the other Atchison car.
Mm-hmm.
That was the blue and yellow cars that you're talking about.
Okay, maybe this was an all-blue team. They were blue cars that I remember.
I saw Clemens was on the ramp when we were wrapping up last night, and they had about 8 cars to go.
And they stopped right as soon as we stopped.
We left, and
Andy Lee wants to know what the green screen behind us is for. Somebody wants to text him and
Andy, this is what you do. Go back to YouTube. Start from the beginning and watch over.
Well, he's not listening.
Because we were a little exhausted last night, and so we were throwing in the towel, heading back to the hotel. And Ben's like, "There's still a couple more cars to be inspected." Okay, Ben.
Yeah, no.
Let us know the rest of the stuff you catch. We're soft. We're going to the hotel. And by the time I got back, Ben was there and said that they weren't there too much longer, and they came back. So.
Metro Nate Witt from down in Texas wants to send his good luck to Mopar Express.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, they got some nice looking stuff.
I can't
it's
wait
hard to argue with that.
Mopars.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Because they aren't really known for having light throttle foots.
Oh no, they're going to run as hard as DMP, as hard as any one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned going out earlier and walking down through and seeing the other cars that are here for the other classes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There's
you name it, it's here.
I'm thinking we're going to be close to the area of 10 Chevy roundback wagons. We're going to be real close to that.
Yes.
I saw a Thunderbird.
Yep.
I saw,
Oh, you wanted to see one of those too.
did.
You were talking this morning about that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not a Zacharias Thunderbird, but I think it'll be tough. There's got to be 6, 7, maybe 8 shockers.
Yes.
There's 4 or 3 Cordovas.
I know at least one Y-framer.
Yep, there's a nasty Y-framer.
Which Brian has been bragging on politicking to drive.
You should. You'd love that thing. I talked to that kid a bunch. I learned a little bit from that car. You know,
and the funny thing is it's Team Hoffmeister.
Right.
It's green with a white bumblebee stripe on it. And we were talking to their brothers that are here. And they're like, they're telling us what they have. And they're like, oh yeah, our dad's got 168 Imperials. And Josh and I kind of look at him. And he goes, Imperial Heaven, you ever heard of it?
Yeah, you guys ever heard of Imperial Heaven?
And Josh, I kind of went to spit off Josh's chin, and he kind of slapped me to get me back. And we're like, yeah, we've heard of Imperial. Yeah, our dad owns that. We're just like,
well, he goes, yeah, I got some Imperials, and then. We were talking fast. He's like 168, and I'm like, excuse me? So like 168, 168. He's like, yeah, Imperial Heaven. I heard. I was like, what? Imperial Heaven?
And then of course I think
you gotta hook up, man.
I think we may have touched it last night, but Bobby Whitaker's here. He has a Chevy wagon, and of course everybody in the Derby world I think watched the show where they went to Bobby's dad's place, and there was a barn full of Chevy wagons. So I, asked the question he's asked so many times, you got any wagons left? He's like, yeah, we got a few, somewhere around 28, 29, and I was like, that's a few, I guess.
I took 100 mental pictures underneath that car because and thank God Ben was right there. Inch by inch of that car, that family knows.
Oh.
They know what it's going to do, And Ben said a quick thing to him, and he goes, nah, that's not what I want it to do. It's going to do this. And then Ben's like, you think it'll do that? To us. And it's like, well, he said it is. That's what it's going to do. I mean, he's the one that, if he says he's going to do it, it's going to do it.
We've touched on it already, but it is so awesome having Ben here to, point stuff out and explain things. And, he's showed me a couple things that I can use, on my style build when I go back home. And it's just, we all give Ben credit, but I don't know if we give him enough because it is so awesome to have him here
let me say this,
and explain this stuff and point things out and come back and tell us so we're on the know.
Well, you hear locally, Ben's an inspector up our way, and we all go to his shows, and there's some guys in our area that sometimes get down on Ben. I'll agree with everybody, and Ben will agree with you too. Sometimes Ben's harsh or he's short with people sometimes, he's not a people person all the time, which is fine. And sometimes people get down on him. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, I've been here with him all weekend. I'm going to tell you right now, this guy knows his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This guy does not miss a lot.
No.
He caught things today that maybe other people weren't catching. And Brian, you were right there. You saw what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
He really knows his stuff.
Absolutely.
And if he doesn't, he asks, and then he's like, And then sometimes you hear him talking out loud to himself, and he's walking himself through what he's looking at. He's like, I figured it out. That's what this is for.
And that's the thing. Ben isn't always on camera, but the knowledge that he has and the knowledge he brings back to us is just so, it's so amazing.
I would miss half the stuff. And when I say because sometimes I'll say what the hell is that doing?
Yeah.
And then he'll go duh, dude, you're da-da-da-da. Like,
oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ben. I'm glad,
Well, and that's the thing today is there was, on one of the cars where they welded a door shut, I'm like, why did they do it that way? And he explained it to me, and it wasn't anything extravagant. It was actually pretty easy. I'm like, wow, I never ever would have thought of that. Right. He's like, yeah, that's why they do it, and it does it this way. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And it's something that maybe I'll try. So, but again, I just wanted to throw that out there that he's down in the rules meeting now. I'm sure we're gonna, when he comes back, we'll. Maybe not on air, but we're doing some cool stuff.
And another thing I really noticed down there too, and Brian and I were talking about, is sometimes people get thinking okay, every car down here is just the nastiest thing out there. Mm-hmm. And I will throw this out there. There are some cars that maybe some people would say I don't know if I'd run that, or I don't, that guy's a little far behind. There is some stuff here that just because you can do all these great things doesn't mean everyone knows how to do it, right? You saw what I was talking about.
Absolutely.
And there's just some fine things when you say, why did he do it that way? And then you realize, I guess he just never thought of it or thought it through, or...
And that's the thing. The car that Josh is talking about, we were standing there, and I'd looked down in the engine compartment, and I really didn't pay much attention. And Josh goes, "Hey," he goes, "look at that." I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "How come you didn't put it here? Because then it'd do this and do that." And I'm like, wow, Josh really sort of almost knows what he's talking about, and it made sense to me. But I mean, that's the thing. You start.
I was right there, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it made sense to me. He's been talking to Ben.
Well, virtually, yes.
No, we were by ourselves at this point. So we were trying to feel smart on our own, but we're nowhere near Ben. But we were. And it was, but the thing is, though, is it. But that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the places where we build, we can't do, a lot of the stuff.
No.
But some of the small, like what Josh pointed out to me, is we could do that at any show we went to. Regardless of the car, we could do it to help ourselves.
Yes.
The way it was built.
Yeah. Yeah,
what
it
I
just
mean?
makes you stick in your head. You remember, and someday you might need it in that circumstance.
I mean, this summer when I'm, or spring when I'm building a car, I'm going to go, okay, what if I do this and put this here? And, it's cool. And that's the thing. I mean, we said it before, and again, this is my first time here, and it is truly amazing. I just wish that more people from home would come out. I mean, I understand it's, sometimes it's better to hang out and, watch it on the big screen on your comfy couch, but to come out here and look at the stuff and see, walk through Vendors Row where there's Hoffmeister and Overkill and Baldwin and Postal Mopar, Chambliss,
Derby Tees is back there.
Yeah, Derby Tees. Muse has got his parts here.
Yep.
There's just so much stuff. And even, I'm in the group too, I'm not singling, but I mean, even if you can't buy the stuff, it's just so awesome to look at it. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes we all just like to do a little window shopping, and it's just awesome to walk around and look at the, the technology, what it is. Josh and I were talking yesterday, and I said, it's so cool to have seen so many of these cars on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And then, boom, here they are.
It is.
You know what I mean?
And then they're like, whoa, these are real cars. I mean, you get to see underneath them and stuff. Another thing today is Brian and I were looking through stock cars today, and we're looking at this one car, and it's like, I'm like, oh, look at this, the sway bar.
Yeah.
So, hey, he didn't bolt down the sway bar. And I'm like, well, let me look at the other side. Well, maybe it broke or something. So I look on the other side, and it's bolted down on the other side. I'm like, this guy's sway bar is down. So I had to go find the guy. It's like, hey, sir, I don't know if you know or not, but your sway bar bolt's broken. It is? And he gets over there, and it's like, I actually felt good about telling him because, it's like, yeah, this guy needs some help.
So, Chris, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but who wins the A feature Sunday night?
Same Bando.
Good pick, dude. I'll tell you guys what, man. Any Mopar fan? This guy's Mopar is nasty.
I'm telling you. I'm telling. This is why. Because when we were talking after his heat draw, he said you heard him talk about it, and then after the microphones were shut off, he told us things that he didn't want to say in the microphone. So I'll go ahead and say them for him. He said in that I might have to talk to the guys to back it down so that we can get to the next round, but I'm going after one of those cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bend it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? The thing is, if you do bend it, you're not so. If you do bend it, that's awesome. But if you don't bend it, you weren't supposed to anyway. So there's nothing to do.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, if you do win, if you do beat him, no one will ever forget.
But the thing is, though, is like Chris said, if you do bend that car, that's going to change the outcome of the whole show.
Sure.
I mean, if you get right down to it, there's a very good chance it's going to change the outcome.
I don't know about another podcast I talked about how in Utah they're really progressed on the Cordova side if you want to learn it.
Right.
And we spent 15 minutes with Sam last night, just pre-inspection, just me, Brian, and him, and he walked us around it and stuff. And it's like, man, you're some great ideas, things that we don't think about, but could be used back home. And he really knows his stuff. And I'm excited to see that Cordova because I know people can say like a subframe car can't compete or whatever, but a pinch frame is different. And the way he's got it together.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that you have a Cordova at your house?
I have, yeah.
Does that make you any excitement at all?
I was just licking my chops when he showed me stuff, Oh, great idea. Oh, I can do that.
And that was the thing, is there was something on that, and I'd never seen it before. And so Ben said something about it. Oh, actually, you said something about it, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, then today, I missed Sam being inspected, the second part, when he was on the lift, and Ben said something about it. I'm like, what? So then he explained it to me and what it was, and I'm like, son of a gun, that's an awesome idea.
Well, we know Sam's. We've already documented the situation with Sam and being down a car and having Dan Bantor step in. backed off, stepped in to help. But I guess there was problems with Cotter's car getting through inspection as well.
They there was some issues.
Dave Cotter has one of the roundbacks.
Yeah,
on that team.
Without going into too much detail, there's certain things you cannot do. You cannot put this on your car and run it here. This car had some stuff that was a little over the edge, I guess, and I was saying...
there was a lot of focus being paid on the rear end of that car at one point, but I don't know if that's what the hang-up was.
It was front end. But the driver of the car came up and told Sam, he's like, hey, I'm not running. He's like, I don't want to put the time in to fix it, And I can understand the frustration and yada, yada, yada. But, so Sam's like, look, you got to run. So when I was out walking around, I saw that the wagon was sitting there, and they were hot and heavy working on the front end. Here comes Ben with a smile. Again, we might not be able to talk about this on air, but it's going to be neat after. But so I seen them working on the wagon. There was another one there because they have two. There's two wagons.
Yeah.
The second wagon, they had to do some work on the back end of it. But I'm pretty sure that one will be fixed also. But it's just it's the waiting game now.
Oh, yeah, Ben just showed up out of nowhere.
Look at.
Well, I guess people can't see it on the screen up there.
No, I was looking to see. Someone actually sent me a picture of what they felt that green screen looked like, and I'll show you the picture later.
Okay.
But yes, it's a green sheet now, but tonight on the pay-per-view, when you see it, you're not going to.
Yeah.
This is a behind the scenes. No one else has seen what this looks like. I know it's not a whole lot to look at. Honestly, it's just us.
For example, right now,
but we couldn't do anything. We couldn't get all this stuff set up for these guys and tear everything down. We bring everything back if all the focus points and stuff got moved.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to go through and recalibrate everything. So we're just going to leave it be.
I mean, right now we're sitting here watching. You guys see the green screen, but we're looking up at the jumbotron.
No, we're not.
We're not.
We're not doing that. No.
Never mind. It's neat. Just get your later. Check it out. That's all I can say.
No, we're not doing anything that Brian just said. Basically, you're looking at the green screen, and there's nothing I can do with my computer that's going to make it any different. Once they start flipping switches at the Kansas Expo Center, where they're a gajillion
I was just going to tell them what we saw on the screen.
Yes.
Can I do that, or is that a no?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
It just kind of looks like an ESPN Sports Center. Dick.
The pay-per-view that you see tonight is going to. I heard some comments from over there. I'm pretty sure that Sam's happy with the turnout, and he was getting everything finalized, and working with Derby T's getting some banners hung up, and this arena is going to be amazing when they start turning everything on for good and getting ready to work through the 8-heat program tonight. It's going to let us know who the preliminary feature teams are, and eventually going to see the main bracket championship.
Isn't it? There's also one of the 80s classes is running tonight after the heats.
I think one of the 80s classes is on deck tonight. Yes.
Yeah.
I think so, but I can't remember which one. I've lost so much track of what the schedule's going to be because we've been focusing so much on that.
I know it's tonight. Daniel mentioned that his wife is running, and she's running tonight. So I don't know which class it in. Like I said, it's one of the 80s class. I'm not sure what they call it. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but so after the hour it's going to take to run the 8 heats. We're gonna.
Well, when we were doing that heat draw show, Ben Haas. Now you digest some of your stuff. We'll transition over to your conversation down there at that meeting here in just a minute. After something I was thinking about with the heat draws last night, there was no reactions in the crowd. I don't know if they were a poker face. Everybody had. I mean, nobody's
poker face, dude.
all.
How can you? You can't be disrespectful and go like, yeah, awesome. And you also don't want to show any fear or nothing. So everyone was just walked away.
I think they should have been yelling and screaming.
No.
Absolutely.
It's not. It's disrespectful.
Yeah, but you think that because it makes for better TV.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But as competitors, that better TV isn't always better competition.
They're going to run you over whether you cheer or not.
That's true.
But you don't
want them to run you over angrily. I mean, you'd like them to be happy when they're running you over.
Yeah, because that happens all the time.
Yeah, smile on their face.
I've run over people happily.
Oh, I've had a huge smile. Huge smile.
So Ben's over here with a huge smile. They had a rules meeting to talk a little bit about what's in store for the coming years with Ultimate Derby. Did you come up with anything? Did you contribute anything?
Grab your mic.
I was like a sponge down there. I took it all in. I didn't feel real it was my place to contribute anything,
Right,
but no, a lot of valid points. A lot of stuff that was in the massive gray section this year is going to be very, very point blank, blunt, clear. What you kind of
crystal.
I mean, beyond crystal, like best cut diamond clarity. But no, the guys that were down there. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I seen a lot of faces from the teams. A lot of the teams represented. They had very valid points. Very, very laid back session, and Sam was mega receptive, and it's.
Think of anything Sam did this weekend.
Well, I mean, you're looking at yesterday. I mean, you're looking at 13, 14 hours for these guys inspecting cars. Today's going to be the same.
Yep.
Or longer.
And he's just trying. They're trying to help both sides of the fence here.
Absolutely.
I mean, you want the clarity for the drivers, so it's easier for them to build.
Yes.
You want the clarity for the inspectors for sure, so they can streamline and get these guys through the inspection line as fast and as efficiently as possible, so they can get back. If they have to fix stuff, they can fix it, and they got a lot of time.
And that's the thing, I'm sorry, Ben.
And you know, all versions. It wasn't just rules. I mean, all different aspects of this event were discussed, and a lot of good valid points. I mean, I'm not going to come right out and spit and say what the whole conversation is about, because there's a lot of stuff that's not going to
We're not going to
make no, you're not going to make it public, because it's all.
It wasn't supposed to.
It's all.
I mean, that's the thing.
Coulda, shouldas, but it was a very and it was a very informative meeting, very receptive meeting, and the meeting is definitely going to make for even a bigger and better show.
And that's, I want to give Sam a lot of credit for offering to have this meeting, because there was some issues, there was some disagreements. So I want to commend Sam on doing that.
Yep.
But I also want to commend the drivers and the builders for coming in and talking about it calmly. I mean, we sat right here for, most of it. There wasn't any raised voices. No. Everybody was calm. Everybody's, it's classy on both sides. Both sides handled everything great.
And even yesterday, when things weren't necessarily the most classy and weren't necessarily the most respectful, there wasn't a lot of screaming and yelling.
No.
There was definitely agitation and tension.
Well, there was tension. There was some heated stuff that went back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
But what you're going to have, but I mean, for both sides, because I mean,
this was the Brzezinski cars. Were the focus of a lot of the attention.
I'm not going to just single them out. There's other guys that from the first team, pretty much to the end that I saw. There was definitely some points where guys were okay. You got to do this, but no, this is why I did this, and and guys were definitely upset, but. They handled it. But for those, for Sam to come together representing his group, and then the drivers and builders, because not everybody here builds the same or drives the same, and if they agreed on, okay, if one driver got caught doing one thing, obviously he did it to try to improve his car, try to gain a little bit of an edge. So for you as a fellow competitor to say, yeah, he's right, we should do that, then you're agreeing, but you're going to have to go against that guy next year with his car a little bit better.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So or is it just making it more even?
Yeah. And it's
I think this you've got your rule book right here as your center line, and you've got your margin for your margin of tolerance that goes so far this way and so far this way. Well, you got a couple cars that went to this point, and then they went way past that. And in order to get them to come back into tolerance, they either have to cut their cars up and get back down to within that margin of tolerance. And margin of tolerance is a strange thing coming from an inspector's perspective, because you're reading the rule your way as the rule writer. Then you've got your team of inspectors who are reading it, and you can be as clear as you want, but there's still personal interpretation to it. And then you've got the builders on the other side.
There's a fine line to the clarity that you can produce in a set of rules.
Oh, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going to have Encyclopedia Britannica version of a rule for a show, and that takes out the creativeness. You still want the creativeness in a show. You don't want to make it like you said, a cookie cutter show, but you also still need the clarity to bring closer and reel in the range of gray that you have.
I'm going to argue with that point.
Oh, boy.
No, because Sam mentioned it. Like, what if at this level it was cookie cutter? What if at this level, when you're at this point and this much money's going to cars, why not make it cookie cutter as like NASCAR? Look at NASCAR. I mean, that is cookie cutter, right?
Because I think our sport, even more than racing, is based on doing it on your own, building to make it a little bit better,
Fabbing,
yeah, stuff like that.
I get that.
But what I'm talking about cookie cutter is you tell a person gets the set of rules, starts from page 1 and goes to probably page 20, and builds it right to the T. You're telling them exactly, this is the dimension, this is the part you have to use, exactly this part, exactly this part. And what it's going to do is it's going to drive up the price even more.
Absolutely.
And the whole point is like I said, it's missing a tune-up, and a tune-up is being discussed. It's approached, and it's on its way.
Yeah.
So I mean, this was just a bump in the road. It's a growing pains bump, which every single year I think every show has a growing pains bump, because every single year somebody else is coming out with something different to push the
and not only that, we got new guys coming from new areas that have never built to your rules. So you're and a guy in Upper Wisconsin is not building like they're building in Kansas.
No.
Even the same ideas, they might have one person changed it up that way and it worked better than this way, and you're seeing different ways of doing the same thing. Right?
And the best thing about this is I think it works so well here, and Sam has such a good working relationship with these drivers. Is he has a core. I'm not, and when I say core, I don't mean a small amount of people. No. I'm going to use core as just a word of drivers that are loyal to him, run his shows and really, really care about the show and about his events. That they're open to different ideas. They're going to bounce ideas back and forth. Some ideas they're not going to like. Other ideas, they're like. So I mean, it's a give, push-pull type thing, and but all I got to say is from that, that whole deal down there is it's just going to be that much better. Next year's just going to be that much better.
Was Chad Rhodes down there?
Chad Rhodes, C.J. Barnes, Mike Brown. Mike Brown was down there.
Did you see Rick Clark?
Nope. There's a few other people down there. There was one team I don't think that was represented down there. There might have been a couple, but there was a core group of guys, I would say, that would be at every one of the meetings. I feel if he had meetings every show, I feel that he would have been there. But it's going to be put out there. They're gonna have some stuff at the drivers meeting and stuff for later on, and he's going to hit on some different subjects. I mean, it's all the questions, a lot of questions that we have and have been brought up are pretty much, it's like he's inside of your head. He's got his
finger on the pulse. When he's wrapped up in everything here, he realizes what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But think about this. Let's say he goes to the drivers meeting and explains it when it's hot on your mind, it's hot on your, you're passionate about it, and he says, okay, next year, I know you didn't like this and like that. Then, as this derby gets over and you think about next year, you're like, you know what, I am going to go back because he said he's going to fix this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, some promoters will say like, okay, let me just go home and think about it. Then you don't hear from them. Then 8 months later they say like, okay, we're going to change this, this, and this. Well, you might have lost some drivers because for the last 8 months guys are saying like, these guys aren't doing nothing about it. But for Sam, he's nipping it in the butt way before they even get out of here.
Yeah,
it's a good idea, really.
Well, yeah, and that's, you got a valid point. I mean, when it's hot on your mind, it's a discussion, and it puts people's minds at ease. You got to think about it.
People stew on stuff.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Most of these people are here for at least 6 days.
Right.
Oh yeah.
6 to 7 days.
And I mean, that's the thing is, you don't let it fester. If there's an issue, deal with it, now. because, and I've done it myself. I mean, if something happens today and somebody says, "Hey, I'll get back to you," and then you don't hear them, you're like, he's blowing me off, and that just, it festers and festers and festers, But to get right to it today, that was a great way to handle it. Chris, what do you think?
Chris, you here?
I'm here.
Hey.
Are you done working on the computer? Can you help us out a little bit or what?
I'm looking.
Hey, you know what? Guys, look out there at all those banners. There's
That's my
something.
contribution, by the way. Go ahead, Josh.
There's something missing from them banners. I don't know if anyone else can put their finger on it, but
I do know what's missing.
yeah, a crash course banner.
Yeah, actually.
But that's just something that we all mental note.
But I'll spin off on that. I wasn't up here earlier. You guys might have already hit it, but just the number of very large sponsors
Oh yeah.
on there.
Oh, let's get real.
And super real. I mean, there's
Speedway, O'Reilly's. I see Overkill over there. Of course, Derby Tees.
yep.
Chambliss is.
Welding.
Chambliss.
I know they were a very big sponsor.
Yep, Klein Design, which he's jumping up big time. But no, there's Overkill.
Think about when we were 18, getting into Derby. Think like this is where it was going.
I said that to Chris yesterday. At some
That's
point,
so awesome.
I said, when I was 17 years old, knocking windows out of cars, I never thought I would be going to Kansas, Topeka, to watch an indoor demolition derby. Never.
You would never think would ever be an indoor show.
Oh, good Lord, no.
Copy me on that.
Yeah, Chris is taking
Someone want to
pictures.
argue with me about the spelling of Expo Center. I got some proof for you right here.
Expo Centre.
Andy Borioff from down in Pennsylvania.
Andy, you're wrong.
Andy just sent me a caption that said "Oops" with the Expo Center spelling. And Expo Center is EXPOCENTRE. So I'm gonna go ahead and message him back that picture I just took.
It's French.
I was going to say that's.
Yeah, it's the French influence in Kansas. There's a lot of Canadians.
There's no Canadians. That's how they spell it.
It's not Canadian. It's French.
You know what I love about That's funny.
Oh, that's awesome. The four of us are all going to be the only ones that know that.
Andy has been sitting at his house. He hasn't showered in days. He's just waiting for the next episode and the next episode to come on because he's dying for the pay-per-view to start. I've talked to him already.
You got a little bit of weight to go away. You got enough time to shower.
Yeah, you should be here watching the cars go through and see how that waiting goes. It's like when you're a kid walking by a Christmas tree for, waiting.
I didn't wait. I got in trouble one year.
I did too, actually. On my birthday, actually.
Yeah, I wrapped all the presents and then rewrapped them.
Okay, that I wouldn't do.
Yeah, that was no fun.
I was good enough to not get caught.
Yeah.
If you use a skinny knife, you can cut the tape and then retape it.
Yeah. What is that? I keep hearing in my ears. It's driving me batshit.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with everything online too.
No, I mean just
it's just alerts.
I just thought it was maybe an alarm or something,
Oh no, it's an alert, which I try to keep it up, but then when I navigate over from the page, it does the alert over again.
Yeah, and they definitely got that. They cleaned this track off fast.
Yeah, they're professionals with those good motors.
Yeah, there's.
Did they have the tires last year, or is that something that's changed coming into
That's
this year?
something new. That's saving the skid loader guy
after the issues they had last year.
Well, no, they actually utilize the backhoe bucket when it's in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they utilize that. As a driver, you utilize that bucket. You just
driving that
because the guy in the Bobcat's strapped in.
Yeah,
if he's in it, he's strapped in.
He'll be
Otherwise,
fine.
he's coming out and he's going to look like them guys on some of them videos when they're picking the helmets off the stacks, out the front window.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Chris, what do you think?
About what?
Just in general.
About what part?
Just in general.
Guess we're having some.
I think in general, show-wise, Chris, last year to this year.
I think this year's stuff's way better so far. I mean, I think the builds are better. I think that the turnout, the caliber of cars. I love the idea with this. This is something actually we got to get into a little bit. This at-large pool versus the main pool. You've got your main pool, your main draw of 16 teams, which we seeded last night during the heat show. Thanks a lot to everybody for tuning into that. It looked like we had probably close to the numbers we were turning in were probably close to 300 people watching live, and we already know that those numbers are generally inaccurate. So then on top of that, we had another 7 teams that were ready to jump into the pool in case one of the teams didn't make it or whatever reasoning it might be. It was really cool that those two teams, those pools aren't going to converge. You're not going to see the at-large teams, which are going to be the one run done by themselves. 2 of those teams are going to qualify for the main draw, and the last place finisher in each of the B mains is no longer going to have a reserve spot in the main draw. They're going to have to race their way back in subsequent seasons, and it's I think that part of it is really cool because you've got teams that are now looking at their matchups thinking, boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to advance out of this, or we're going in a car down or something along those lines, that are at the same time thinking, boy, we know for sure that if we do lose, we got to get everybody put back together because we need all the help we can get because we cannot lose our spot in the main round of 16.
If you have a bad weekend, you're going to have a real bad weekend.
You can't sit off your mic. You can't sit off your mic.
In that, Chris, is surprisingly, Chris, that was one of the things that was discussed down there.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, really?
Was the bracketry. Yes.
What were they discussing?
Oh, just comparison. Guys had concerns about the bracketry and how it's set up, and you had guys just like in rules. I mean, you had guys they like the old bracket system and this system, and then what about this? What about that? There was a lot of different options flying around suggestion-wise about this, and they had some very, very good points. Like I said, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that he openly took in. Just didn't say dead set, no, this is the way it's going to be. He's always openly looking for an opportunity from a driver's point to improve the show. Not just in rules. This is a prime example of in the way the brackets are set up, in the way guys advance, and possibilities of if they lose, they don't have like a snowball's chance to make it to the end. So it's just I blew it in there on you with that, but I mean it's just something that that meeting wasn't just about rules. It's about everything.
There was a lot going on.
A lot, and I got there 3/4 of the way through it. So it's a lot of the other highly argumentative stuff, rules-wise, I think was down with that taking place earlier. But I know a lot of the gray shit's gonna get lit right up from this year to next year.
Your buddy,
I just muted you.
Your buddy.
Joey, are you sitting here hearing me, John?
No, you swore.
That's only twice.
I gotta get it out now.
Yeah, sure.
You can get it out later too. I mean, I don't doubt for a minute that
there's FCC fines involved later.
There's not.
No, there's not.
No, there's not.
No, through another one, man.
That's why those radio guys went to satellite.
Okay, whatever. Let's move on. Enough of that.
The pay-per-view stream for Blizzard Bash is no different than the Crash Course podcast. They're just using a different streamer system, and they've got the cars in action versus us standing in front of a big green sheet.
Well, I didn't clear my throat, I don't think, yet today.
Nice. You have that?
Do it now.
No.
Just make sure you still can. Don't want you to lose that. It's one of your superpowers.
No. They ain't doing it.
Superpower.
I'm going to go find a Mountain Dew in a minute. You keep picking on me.
Ben has only had 2 Mountain Dews today.
Steve Blankenship's on too.
Is he?
Steve Blankenship, Joey Roth up from Washington.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Yeah, great support. Amazing support from our shows.
We're coming up 6 o'clock as we go live with the pre-show. 7 o'clock is the scheduled start time for the evening program.
Dude, I thought it started at 6. Like crashing stuff.
No, the pre-show.
You got an hour pre-show, dude. So when the lights come on,
over this.
Is this your first time here?
What is this?
Yes.
You know what? When I told him it started at 6 o'clock, he was thinking, well, must be the time changes or something like that.
yeah, he's taking serious time.
He's just not listening to you.
Yeah,
That's not a good employee.
Oh.
He don't even understand when that hour flies. It's like 2 minutes because people are rolling in, people are looking up, people are
And we're getting fired up.
making faces at you and everything else, and everybody's having a good time. And next thing you know, it's go time.
Ryan Rakestraw's trying to knock the camera stand over.
Yep.
No, he's banned.
But we're going to open the night.
We're roped off 4 hours before we see anything go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would happen if we went out and just jumped in 2 people's cars and wrecked them in the parking lot?
You got
What would really
There's
happen?
some nice clamshell out there for sale.
We would probably become a first-name basis for some of Kansas, Topeka's finest that we saw eating breakfast.
They're
over at the hotel.
probably already out there because there's people out there hot lapping. I mean, I don't know what the hell.
Somebody sounded like an airplane driving over.
Here's Pete.
That was Pete.
Pete was honing on it out there.
He's trying to bring it up to temperature.
He did say he could turn that motor 8,000 RPMs.
He was near it.
So, which is,
He was near it. That was a pretty funny pun you just did there.
He was there. There you go.
Near it, like the slider.
so Josh,
shot.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, how many product sponsorships have you got for next year, and are you running it? I mean, are you running like every major show in America?
Mr. Decker, don't answer
a
that
great
question. Don't answer
question.
that question, sir.
I mean,
It's a great question. I can't answer it.
He can't answer. His manager just told him to stop.
We're not through
Actually, we're-
contract negotiations.
Yes.
We're not having this conversation. It's something we can talk about later.
Yeah. There's a lot of legalities involved in
You know,
that.
if I would have just not built any cars this year and just got to run the cars that people were nice enough to supply for us, I ran enough derbies just like that. Like I really didn't need to run at home. I maybe should just quit at home. I don't know because I don't run there ever.
What'd you five other shows you
Yeah,
ran?
that's good.
Blizzard Bash,
Nope, did not do that.
Did not do Blizzard Bash.
Winter Slam.
The one in
Jesse.
Minnesota.
Third Island.
You won, or you
I ran
ran
2 for Cyopas,
2 for sale. Well, one in it.
one in a jump
16.
box. Yeah,
So that's 3.
16.
Where else, buddy?
Here.
Oh yeah, here Sunday. Or were we supposed to say that yet?
He bought tickets.
Yeah, right. About tickets.
He bought a lot of tickets, dude.
Well, no, it's. I mean, what we're talking about is there's a run here called I believe it's a slop run.
No, it's got to do with the raffle car. He bought tickets for the raffle car.
Right, but if he doesn't win the raffle car, there possibly it
Yeah, I don't
could
know.
be
Yeah, I don't know.
running a slop run.
Maybe. You know what? I said Daniel, I'll give you $1,000. You let me run that. Just anything, if you know. Think about slop run. I think they said they can run almost any event. Like
You know, the better half might be watching this later, and she just heard you offer $1,000 to run a car.
sponsor money.
Oh, okay.
Then we bought scratch offs. There's a gas station right across the street. I'm telling you right now, I went and bought like $15 worth of scratch offs, and I'm not gonna scratch them off yet because I'm gonna wait. And when it comes time, and I'm like a big winner, I'm driving anything in here because it's like $2,000 a week for life.
Pete Hansen told me what it would cost to buy his car and run it here, and
About $75,000 probably.
I believe realistically, I think the number he gave me was 34,000.
34,000, but that was before he had to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could probably get it for like $28,500 now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Just
a
the
steal.
second mortgage.
Plus sales tax.
Plus sales
Leanne
tax.
went to pay
What's
tax
the-
on it.
We're in
Sales
Kansas
tax
though
again.
because it's cheaper.
Well, he can gift it,
He could
and then
gift
just
it.
cash. You can pay cash.
Yeah, and then I'll pay for Pete's fuel on the way home.
Right.
At 8 miles a gallon.
But the other truck only got
34,000.
6.
34,000. When I tell people, it's like, yeah, no, there's some cars that were like 30 grand, and I'm like, there's not. It's impossible.
What if he took it across the street and tried to trade it in at the GM dealer?
But you know, we were talking earlier, and a show this big, you know, I mean, let's be really honest. These guys aren't running for the money. You don't run derbies. It's about the feeling of the win.
Oh,
It's not about the money. I mean, the trophies are good. I mean, you know, we've all won at one point or another. Trophies are cool. You know, our kids love trophies.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's the prestige to say, "Damn it, I did it."
it's a bragging rights for sure, but the little bit of money also helps too. I mean, it's you know, I look at it as, you know, if you brought a team out here and you won the team show, you're pretty much paying for the fuel and your motel rooms.
Yeah.
And a good time and the bragging rights.
Yep.
And to me, I mean, that's kind of what it's all about for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
Absolutely. I mean, it's you know, it's no different than any other form of motorsport. I mean, you know, unless you have a incredible team owner and you're you know, they're paying all the bills, as a driver, you're not going to make, you know.
I need that.
yeah, it's like an NHR event. You know, if they win the whole thing, they only lost like 125,000 that day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at NASCAR. The drivers, they usually get somewhere in there between 30 and 45 or 52%, something like that, depending on who you are. But that's why the owners aren't making money. Even with sponsorship, the owners aren't making money.
Endorsements.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's a business. They're not supposed to make money.
Maybe all these guys need to start wearing like Kobe's and LeBron's and everything else out there, and then they can get like Nike endorsements and shit.
You could buy Mike Brown derby shoes next year, Josh Decker.
You're gonna wear the
Mike Brown derby shoes.
It's awesome.
Air Jordans have nothing on the Flatfoot Browns.
Flatfoot
Brown
Browns.
Slammers or something like that.
Yeah, or the Slick Jimmies.
Yeah. Uncle Jimmy jersey or Uncle Jimmy jersey wearer.
So anyway, Mopar Express, the black and purple team, is going to open up with a pairing against the defending champions with the E2 Sliders team, Bob Meyer, Lance Pritchett. What do you think of that?
They had a representative down there just to break in. Pritchard's team.
Well, that's going to be a slugfest. E2 Sliders going to kind of take their time a little bit more, I think. And Mopar Express is not.
No.
I watched him last year. That Lance was pretty smart about his driving. He was a good driver. I mean,
Chris,
he wasn't out there tracking.
Kevin Atchison.
You think, yeah?
Calvin Atchison, Paul McKim, AJ Van de Kamp, and J.M. McKim are the Mopar Express representatives. Bob Meyer, Lance Pritchett, Travis Anger, and Parker Coffin. Parker Coffin and Travis Anger both had to start their cars over in order to get legal for this show weeks ago. And so now Bob Meyer, Lance Pritchett, they're excellent builders. Parker Coffin, they anticipated him having some problems getting across the ramps. Everybody in those circles, those guys have all, at this point, passed. They're good to go. Who's going to walk away with the win in that? I would love to say it's Postal Mopar, but I got an inkling it's going to be blue and black moving on. The defending champions are going to go to the A-Main. The preliminary A-Main. It's not the championship round. The A-Main stuff together again. It comes out for the championship round, and it just pays an additional $5,000.
Wow. Definitely. No, I gotta agree with Chris on that. Because their motors are gonna be screaming from the time the flag drops till they're done.
I don't know about that, but
for sure.
Who's next? What round is next?
It would be round two. The second part of the second heat on the left side of the bracket is going to be Jason Dial's team and the pink and black versus the pink camo team, which is the Molmans. Dustin Cleathan, Jenny Molman, Joe Molman, Scott Svingen, and pink camo, and then pink and flat black is Jason Dials, Jacob Resort.
Drummer boy.
What are you doing?
Wow.
Fight.
Yeah, I can see all the little tap marks right there.
Yeah, he's coming up good on the equalizer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I thought we were earthquake
I
country.
told you, I'm having
And
issues.
now you're yelling.
We're having a seismic burst.
You're all over the place. And then Jason Dials, Jacob Wazorek, Rachel Dixon, Cody Leach, all from Kansas. At this point, the only complete Kansas team is going to be on the track.
Well,
Jason Dials, but
the ironic thing about this is you've had to notice each team has a female.
Each of those two. And it was a blind draw.
And it was a blind draw. That's why I looked at it last night. I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
that is cool.
But them girls can drive.
Right. Oh yeah. No. Jenny drove her.
I really wanna go with the pink camo team. Jenny Molman, Joe Molman. We had a chance to meet them last year. They were great to talk to.
Yep. Well, that's who I'm going with.
I'm going with Dials.
Dials and their teammate got Dobas.
I'm going with Dials and Rachel Dixon. You gonna bet against them?
Yep.
No way.
I'm a bad guy. I underdog guy.
I hate to go against Dobas.
But you're gonna.
I'm gone on this one because I watched.
Take nothing against pink camo. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going off a gut on this one. I think pink and flat black is going to move on that one.
I'm just going in blind. I'm just
Go ahead.
I'm just throwing it out there. That's all. I'm throwing it out there. Bottom line.
The third pairing on the left side of the bracket is White with Flame, Sam Bandow's team against Black and Tan, the Near team, which includes. Ready for this one? It's Ryan Songalewski, Jason Brzezinski, Pete Hansen, and Rick Clark. Rick Clark, it only took him 8 minutes to get through inspection. It took Pete Hansen an hour and 45. At this point, I'm still
That's
not
just
sure.
the first day.
Yeah, that's just the first. That's just the first round of time on the list. I still, as of our shutdown time last night, Pete still hadn't got a stick.
Do we know if he's through yet?
We have not gotten confirmation.
I think the only one that had a stick last night was Rick.
Rick, yes.
On that team, yeah.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
But then Ryan come back through for second inspection.
No. That was still the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Ryan never even stopped on the ramp his first time through.
No.
They just waited him right on by.
Yeah, and said, do what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Really?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you put him on there?
No.
Mark every.
No.
Basically, what were you going to ask now?
Remember we were talking about when we walked in there today and you were disagreeing with Ben and I?
Yeah, stop doing it.
There you go.
Yeah, they waved him across. The cars were essentially built the same. They waved him across and handed him a duplicate sheet from Ryan's and said, go to work on that. Sam Bandow, Dan Baddorf has joined Rick Kostonik, Dave Cotter, and Sam Bandow on that team with the White with Flames. Sam
really gets a
Sam, I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy, but it ain't happening for you.
He gets a tough
Prove me.
draw.
I would love to be proven wrong. My heart's with you, but just looking side by side. But I guess that's why you want to heat, you know?
I think that's going to be. I agree with you.
It's going to be a battle.
It's going to be an excitement heat.
Cradle. You see that, man?
Yeah, I mean these guys. I remember.
But is anybody at the table? If I mean you wanted to put me on the spot earlier, I'll join you in the gamesmanship. Right. Are you going to be the one at the table that says that Brzezinski, Songalewski team unit does not advance?
I'm going to say it's possible. I'm definitely saying it's possible. All you got to do is knock one of them out. Oh, something stupid, guys. I mean, tire falls off.
If you can get a man up,
that's it. That's it.
They're going in. They're going in essentially a man down.
True.
But this is the question. What if, the guy that's underbuilt but stepped up to run, what if he just is the kamikaze? First shot, he gets a lucky angle on somebody, breaks the front tire off.
Or what if they get stuck up in him? It's car, they're going to get stuck up in them. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
Some guys, I think it was Eric Tagg said to me yesterday, he's like, oh my God, I'd go right after that car. I'd knock him out in the first 30 seconds.
No way.
You track that thing, you're stuck in it.
Yeah.
You're way too strong for that.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
Because I used to drive halfway through cars and get stuck all the time. I'd be waving over, hey, come on, hook me. That was a big
Sometimes you
joke.
gotta know when to pull out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
But I meant my derby car.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh. Who's next, Chris?
This is going to finish out the left side of the bracket. Team Kansas, Jimmy Johnson's team, is going to be going head-to-head with Underdogs. And for the first time, Underdogs goes onto the track with a complete four-man team.
And Underdogs is a great
Razorback Rumble and Eric Blum, who joined the team for the first time this year.
They're going out against a three-man team.
Jimmy Johnson on the crash course. Nick Erlacher did not make it to inspection on time. There was multiple opportunities given, some of the different challenges on the schedule in terms of getting cars through. He had to be on the grounds by 8 o'clock, and he wasn't here. That's that. And he did not make the bell, so he does not run in Blizzard Bash 2014. So what happens there?
Think about, real quick, think of the pressure. Not only did they let his team down, but think all the people that picked them and picked him, and it's like a lot of people are going like, damn.
100 teams had Nick Erlacher.
Team Kansas advances.
You're out.
Team Kansas advances.
Man, dude, I've watched Luke Johnson run. I've watched Daryl Monroe run. I'm telling you, they're the best out there too. They're fantastic.
What are you looking for, Ben?
Oh yeah, Team Kansas. Yeah.
You're going with Team Kansas?
Yeah, because you got Jimmy Montgomery and Markley. I mean,
4-on-3 with Clemens, Monroe, Johnson, and Blanc.
Jimmy has said that he's had times in his life where he run team events and he felt confident going through the B main, through a consolation round or the second round as a loser to try to get to the end. I mean, he said that before. He's like, sometimes you got to know when to hold them and fold them. And
well, you don't have that option.
You don't have that option this year. You can't lay down.
You win.
If you go to the B bracket, the most you're going to get out of this is $1,500 and a win in the B main. You don't come back,
and then you're guaranteed to come back next year. But
that's it.
You don't have a shot.
Come back around.
The big one.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody, this first round of brackets, there's going to be nobody going out there like a spanked puppy and laying down thinking they're going to come back out in the later rounds and make the big show. That's the wow factor in this, because everybody is going to come out of the hole, out of the box this first round swinging.
They got it.
Because they have to.
We got to talk about this too again tonight.
They have to.
Right on the paper.
They have to.
That's that's a great point what you guys are saying.
They have to, and that is
really picks up the excitement for this first round.
Exactly, because you don't have the team going out there saying, why go out there and smash the hell out of our cars when we can go out there, lay down, and take a later round and still advance to the final. That takes care of all that lay down stuff. And it's like the NFL draft. I mean, people are, there's deals being made and everything else, I'm sure. But this just takes out this first round. I can't believe how it can get any more faster than it was last year to start with.
Yeah.
But to tell these guys, you either go or you don't go in this first round, I'm so excited to see it, because I can't believe it can be any more intense than it was.
Right.
But the first team out in the B mains, on top of this, the first team out in the B mains, we've talked about this a bunch of times. So right now, we've only talked about the left side of the bracket. The first team out is not guaranteed a spot next year.
Right.
The top 14 finishing teams in Blizzard Bash 2014 will be back in the main bracket next year, along with the top 2 finishing teams from the at-large pool, which we'll see run tomorrow. These two pools, the two circles, do not overlap at any point through the course of Blizzard Bash 2014. You've got your main bracket, and then you've got the secondary bracket. The National Championship bracket is a round of 16 teams, 2 of which will not be back in the main bracket next year.
Mm-hmm. And what Ben was talking about guys, basically shutting off to run later. We were at a big show this summer, and somebody brought up that point, because we were talking about cars going to the Consi and cars running Consis, and somebody said, well, what do you think the chances are that they're doing that on purpose? Because you take a fresh car into a Consi, because you can still do all the stuff to your car that anybody else can. You can 9-wire, you can cut, you can weld, you can...
Keyword, fix-it plates.
Exactly.
8 of them.
8 of them.
4 aside.
I mean, you can do all that stuff. I mean, but that's been taken care of. It's not going to happen this year. You gotta win to be in.
So basically, those teams that we just mentioned: Mopar Express, Light Blue and Black, Pink Kid Black, Pink Camo, White with Flames, Black and Tan, Team Kansas, Underdogs. One of those teams that we just mentioned will not be in the main bracket next year.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Wow.
So, look at some of the teams that are in there. So you're looking at best that's 1 and 8. So you got a 12.5% chance right now that you don't even make it back to Blizzard Bash next year in the main bracket. That's before you factor in strength of team.
I was going to say,
that's
then
just on paper.
You got 2 teams of 3, so technically we got to say that probably the teams of 3 are going to be, one of the teams of 3 is going to be the last place, right? But that's Team Kansas and Sam Handel's team. We don't want any of them not to be here next year. You know what I mean? Think about that.
But the first 2 teams in line in terms of registration to be part of that in the at-large pool is KO Motorsports with Daniel Ward,
Kenny Rosno,
and JYD.
Yeah, dude, those calls.
JYD. Here's something else for you guys to think of. That how about if you're one of the quote-unquote name teams who've been there since the beginning? Let's say you have bad luck this year, twice, and you get put back to the qualifying round next year. You can't tell me those guys aren't going to come in here angrier, built harder, and imagine the show that they'll put on next year in the qualifying round. Right. I mean, think about that.
Well, and that's kind of the way I like this, the way it's set up, because in a way, it's going to get fresh blood in here, possibility, and it's going to give people the mindset of they can.
You can do it.
It's not the same bunch running. We haven't possibly we can get in there and we can run against these guys, because I'm telling you what, there's a lot of teams that want to run against these guys.
And the thing is, though, I think that the young guys nipping at the veterans' heels make the veterans work harder also.
Well, that's no doubt.
I mean, you get a bunch of young kids in here that are, because there's a lot of good builders that are running the qualifying brackets. Good builders, great equipment, great drivers. You put them in there, and the veterans are going to have to work harder to to stay above them. I mean, that's.
I mean, the other thing, the other part of that too, that I just lost that thought. We were going to talk about. You guys were talking about how these guys want to get in and how bad they want to be part of it. If you lose your spot in the main pool in 2014, you don't run in the main draw again. If everything goes your way, you don't run in the main draw again until 2016.
Right.
Yeah. That's 2 years out.
You have to qualify for it, and then after you qualify, you still have to wait another year before you back out there.
Yeah, I mean,
in the main draw.
So you're looking at. I mean, hypothetically, pick whoever you think is a big team. Hypothetically, you could not see them in the main for 2 years of Blizzard Bash.
Right. How about bracket 2? It's going to open up with the 5th heat of the night. It's going to be the blue, black, and gray team. I feel like this is probably one of the more underestimated teams. Here, Matt Schilling, Jesse Ravitch, Eric Schneckloff, and Robbie Gustin are going to go against the Army Green and Black team. This might be one of the most underestimated heats of the bracket.
Team's gonna be nasty.
Zach Fetro, Matt Rosno, Kurt Strong, and Scott Mannering. That heat is getting overshadowed, and it could be the most aggressive heat between two very, very well matched teams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these guys. That was a hard one to pick. I'd roll the dice on that one.
Matt Schilling's team goes on. Zach Fetro's team goes on. Zach Fetro's team goes on.
You just changed your mind too many times.
That's twice.
That's like rolling the dice twice. You can't do that in Vegas.
Yeah, you get
unless you pay.
You get escorted out of the building.
I'm on the board.
Okay.
I can do whatever I want.
All right, you're on the keyboard.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Schilling's team.
You going with Schilling?
Yeah,
then I'm definitely going with
Schilling's
Fetro.
good, man. Schilling really built some nasty.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I like Schilling. I'm gonna go Schilling.
I'm not answering.
It's hard to bet against. It's hard to bet
I
against
the cars drive on the track, and then I'll tell you.
I
know all the cars. I've seen all the cars.
It's hard to bet against Jesse Ravitch.
I hate to let Schilling down. I'm going with Fetro.
You're going with Fetro too?
Fetro.
I'm not alone.
Okay.
And Brian decided he wanted to be the stick in mud and not play the game with everybody.
Yeah, he's
number
gonna
6
pick the easy one.
he'll say, by the way, after the checkers wave over one of the teams, he goes, by the way, I meant to tell you when we started this heat.
No,
that's
I'm talking the next heat.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Team DMP is going to go against with CJ Barnes, Chad Rhodes, Kyle Putter-Witter, the guy who won T-Bone Memorial last year, in addition to the team, because Mr. Reed taking the year off. Mike Brown, also with DMP, running the orange and black colors this year, is going to take on Team Light Green and Black. Winslow Goodwin from Kansas, all these guys from Kansas, Kobe Black, Lance Brule, and Nick Peterson.
This is gonna be a slugfest, but I gotta take.
Oh, I'm taking DMP.
Gotta take it.
That's
Derby
sweet.
Jesus. You got to.
Derby shoes.
You gotta take them, I'll tell you what. He's game face right now, and
he's been game face since he got here.
Yeah.
It sounded like he's been game face since Monday.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I really like that guy. Like, he is so true Derby. It's just he's awesome.
And they even stopped at the pharmacy before they came this year, so they can just hand it out at the end after the raffle card. Seriously, I mean, it's just these guys. Three people off that whole team were down in that meeting, and they had super awesome suggestions, and they were just, you could tell they were pumped. And I've seen all their cars.
Right.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. DMP is DMP.
Mike Brown was out walking the track, looking where he get the best bite.
Trying to determine which part of the track's going to be his best runway.
Yes.
From that tires to the other end corner, far corner.
You know that wherever he lines up, that he will not.
There's a reason why he's there.
You know what was funny to hear? Some of these guys say, like, the only really thing that they care about, the only thing that they can anticipate out there is where they line up. I think Jeremy said that on the show. And that's so true. I mean, after that, which in here, I can't wait. You guys remember here where it flashes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in here? So all the drivers can see it and stuff. It's really cool. And that countdown is, your heart's pumping. And as soon as you let that down, Mike Brown is going to hold it right through you. So you have to hold it right through him.
He's probably going to shift just before he hits you.
Oh. Can you imagine watching him pull down? It's like
Bo Lockwood just messaged in from Pennsylvania, promoter of the Keystone Nationals. He said Tricky P's taking all of this back home to Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
Bo, I hate to put you out there, but 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Michigan.
I like Pete and all and everything else, and I agree he's an awesome driver. But they're all great drivers.
What I was trying to say is no, it's not going to happen.
No, and I don't care, Pete. You can be pissed off all you want. I did not pick you. So, myself against you. I just didn't pick you.
Yeah, no, but I mean
He was really upset about the team the Crash Course picked, by the way, that didn't include him.
Yes, he was.
Very upset.
I wasn't involved in that.
I picked one of his teammates.
Yes.
You did.
Honestly, I'm going to stick by it.
Oh yeah.
I said Rick Clark. So guess what?
I go, Rick, you any of these drivers intimidate you or anything? I think I was walking with you. He's like, I don't even care. I don't even think about that. I was like, yeah, you're right. Let's go.
Rick's car's like sitting in a jet cockpit. And it's just like, he's got more gadgets.
Heat 7 is going to be Team Black and White. It's David Gockel, Jeremy Blake, Cordell Hansen, and Dylan Lane. They're going to be up against the Hunter Orange and Army Green team. Blake Thompson, Colin Sleezer, Kyle Freeman, Michael Maxton. Kyle and Blake, also all from Kansas, going up against a team that's almost all Iowa except for Dylan Lane, who's from Nebraska.
Yeah, orange and green, all Vicks, looked really good. I mean, Ben was right underneath them, but they looked really good, I thought, Ben.
Yeah.
And black and white, clamshell wagon in black and white, so, right? There's a clamshell in that one.
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure. I know there's one in blue and black.
I thought the first white and black team that went through out of here.
It's just so everybody knows, my Avast was updated.
Yeah. Computer has a virus.
What is that?
Lovely.
That was
I don't know.
antivirus is what it is.
Okay, back to our pick.
David Gockel's team's winning that.
I'm going to take the clamshells.
David Gockel and Jeremy Blake, they're winning that.
I'm going to agree with Chris Marquardt on this one. Because Chris is.
I'm gonna be argumentative.
I think the first wagon team. Remember, I think it was the second team that come through. I think they had a clamshell wagon.
Black and white.
No,
black and white.
We did not see any old school for a while.
Old school. Here we go. Now you're gonna spark Josh's powder keg. No,
old school being a car built prior to 1980.
Hashtag. No. Yeah. Exactly.
Old iron. I'm sorry. Old iron. My bad, Josh.
Right. I'm going with Hunter Orange and Green. Army Green. I'm going with Freeman's team. Kyle Freeman. Blake Thomas. Blake Thompson. Yeah.
I'm gonna toss up on that. Do Vicks? Let's say clamshells are out there. Vicks are pointed. Like these Vicks are high up there. The fronts of them. So they're going to be coming in now. Of course, we all love pillar parking, and they're going to be going for that. I mean, I think we had Hutton corners. Does a clamshell just sit there and absorb it all night? Do the Vicks eat them up? You know, I'm kind of interested in see how that plays out on the track.
We talked earlier about this, and they can pillar park all they want. Some of these guys, that's what I want them to do.
Yeah,
they're falling right into their game plan, and
this is, and Ben, you know, listening to Ben then and listening to Ben now, you get something with a real high bumper height, they aren't going to do any real damage to to the back end of it. They're going to push the tin in, but you're not going to bend the frame. You're not going to knock the rear end out of it.
Yeah.
Or are you going to pull the body off the frame?
But you're going to
peel it. Like yours did.
Yeah,
yours did.
Yeah, you start pounding on it too much, let them pound on your corners too much. There's a point where you got to turn it around because they're going to end up ripping a pillar off,
right?
Which is the worst case scenario.
Right. And
then they're going to end up with the front of their bumper on the ass end of your gas tank protector.
Right.
Which you don't want.
No. And that's kind of what I'm wondering. And also, let's think, when you go, and we watched a lot of clamshells out in Ohio. Ohio's, I'm not going to say slower pace, but it's more picking your shots. So guys are kind of picking at them, and they slowly start to roll and bend. But here, we're not going to see that. We're going to see a track shot or clamshell absorb it. Are they going to be just peeling bodies, breaking pillars like you say? I bet we see a little bit more destruction on the back of them cones.
For sure, because
it's that huge impact.
10 times faster.
I wonder if they'll blow the humps out. I know it's hard to blow the humps out of some of them, but I don't think they can
because they won't hit him in the bumper. I don't think he'll bend it.
But then, go back home and watch guys.
You spin that Vic around, they're going to hit the bumper. they hit them with the fronts, that's fine, but you spin it around, they hit them with the back. I mean, it's a crapshoot, but seriously, they're just. I think people think the wagons are just going to get junked fast, and I really think they're thinking in the wrong aspect.
I would guarantee there is one wagon for sure here this weekend that is not going to get jumped quick.
We're going to talk about him in just a second. Heat number 8, Team Guard Speed Shop, with Jeremy Guard, Ryan Durham, Bobby Brockway, and the wagon in question, Bobby Whitaker. And the number 86.
Yeah.
They're going head-to-head with blue and yellow, Richard Gomot, Tommy Gomot, Timmy Gomot, and Jeremy Atchison.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Well, it's near
Guard,
2.
Guard,
If you call it Guard, it's Team near 2.
Yeah.
Guards and Rivy.
Bobby's in an old faithful Ford. Love
Right.
these Fords.
Whitaker's in a Oldsmobile clamshell, I believe. It was old clamshell, I think. Olds? I thought he said it was an Olds.
I'm pretty sure it's an Olds.
He's
but
in
I'm
a
not
Whitaker wagon. That's
Yeah,
really
Whitaker. Yeah, there you
He's
go.
in
That's
a
fair.
Whitaker
the Whitaker wagon.
And then Durham's in a Vic.
Yep.
Two-door.
Two-door.
And I'll tell you, it's a good mix-up on that team. Now think of their setup. That's a good mix. You got something that can get pounded. You got something that's quick. You got something that you got an old iron out there. So they got a good mix. I really like their mix, and I'm going to go with them for sure. Just because every time Bobby Brockway's on the track, I pick him. I love Bobby Brockway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby's
Both fantastic driver.
Both Bobbies. I mean,
Both Bobbies are.
both Bobbies are on the same team. Plus, I mean, it's an awesome team. The Gomat, he's an awesome driver. He's driven Mopars to where you'd never think a Mopar could go, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard. The Mopars they're tough here, but man, it bores me to go against them, but I gotta, I'm going with Guards. I mean, or Narrett 2 or whatever they're called. I'm going with the Bobsy twins and the Guard and the other guys. So I mean, it's
Another reason to go for them is, though, they have a lot of track experience together.
Yeah.
So let's not forget, they got, how many team runs do they got? 10, 12 team runs together?
The three do.
Yeah, well, yes, and I mean, that's a big
And then
deal.
there's Bobby Whitaker,
Who's been on tons of teams.
who is good no matter what the situation or what he's in.
You can trust him on your team every time.
absolutely.
I mean, let's remember when he was on Team Brown last year, man. He had nothing left, and he's tracking.
And where was it you guys went and watched him with 3 tires?
Josh Wetmore just had a great
Arkansas.
Josh Wetmore just had a great point about those wagons that we missed. You can only go so deep into the back of a wagon before a Crown Vic will knock its own steering out.
That's exactly right.
110%. Yes.
Exactly right.
That's diesel.
Exactly right. Which I think is the plan with these clamshells. I think literally that's what they're thinking. If we're going to go underneath them Vics.
I didn't hear Bobby Whitaker say it himself, but I believe it was one of his teammates say that he ran out of car last year, and this year he's not going to run out of car.
Oh, there's a lot of real estate compared to last year.
That was his thinking. So.
But I don't think that heat's going to be a dull heat either.
No.
No, because they're gonna come out swinging. Gomats are gonna come out swinging, and they're not a slouch either.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
Not at all.
But let's remember last year, I think it was round 2 where Guard, we took them as a pick. We thought they were going to be a favorite, and they ended up getting 2 cars hung up on the wall. They ended up knocking their own car off and ended up winning the heat. But there was a 30-second to a minute they were in trouble.
Yeah,
they were in trouble, and it could have changed the whole outlook.
I think unofficially they hold the record for the shortest team.
It was either them or DMP.
Yeah,
it's a toss-up. You could argue strong.
But how about
points
this?
on both
Now,
sides.
if I'm wrong on this, correct me. But hypothetically, if DMP and Guard advances, do they meet each other in the next round?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll be the. So let's just go off of what we had picked. We pretty much all agreed that on most of the teams. Let's just go with Ben's. Okay. Ben went with Schilling.
Yep.
And DMP, and then he went with Thompson, right? Thompson's team.
Yep.
And Guard. So those 4 teams would see each other in the A-main. That pays $5,000. The winner of those 4 goes on to the next round.
I get it. Okay. I'm a little slow
And
sometimes.
would meet the winner of, let's go off of your card from the left side of the bracket. You said you're going Mopar Express over the defending champions. You were going with Dials Pick and Black. You were going with Black and Tan.
No. I said pink camo.
Okay, pink camo. So Mopar Express, pink camo, Black and Tan, and Team Kansas. One of those teams would be up against the winner of the other A-main, and that's a $5,000 bonus for the national championship.
I also stand by the fact that I don't think The two teams that run in the final for the national championship will not have 4 cars on the track.
I mean, think about the possible pairings given where the different teams fell. We've got Team Kansas and the defending champions, E2 Sliders. We've got Near It on the opposite side of bracket from Near It 2/guard, from DMP, from the blue, black, and gray team with Schilling, from Fetro's team. You could conceivably see Near It go head-to-head with Team DMP for 5,000 head-to-head.
Yeah, how nasty would that show be?
Woo! That wouldn't be bad, would it?
That'd be awesome.
Or Team Kansas going a man down, going all the way to the finish to go toe-to-toe with Team Guard.
And that is not out of the reach of reality at all.
No.
Not of the realm.
You could have Sam Bandow going head-to-head against Schilling.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Bandow just wants to go to head-to-head with somebody.
He's just...
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's going to happen really quick in that heat.
Yeah.
Probably right around the time they say go. A couple seconds after that, he'll be head-to-head with somebody.
Yeah.
We got an hour and a half in. What do you think? We wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta eat some nachos or something. Get them home, dude.
Okay, I had a great idea, Chris. Maybe you can work on it.
What?
If we could run a hose
Done.
from the
No, it's right behind us. We got vendors behind us.
from the Mountain Dew keg behind us, right in here, and Ben can kind of run it up like a.
Let's IV drip them.
Absolutely.
Just do. Just drip and do.
Dude, I've been doing good this weekend. You make me sound like I'm my addict or something.
No, never say that.
You've got way down from that case of the Mountain Dew you used to drink.
We would never call you an addict.
Nobody with us is...
You don't get all nuts.
Nobody cares about this at home, so we'll just end that.
But I think that's going to do it for us. We appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us here for a little while with the afternoon updates. We'll be back here. Make sure you tune in. Pre-show on the pay-per-view, 6 o'clock. Jump on blizzardbash.com. You can follow the blue link. I've also got some information posted right there on follow the blue link. Button says Blizzard Bash pay-per-view. It'll bring a new page. You got 4 red buttons. $36 for the weekend pass. You can watch it on your phone, on your Xbox. You can watch it on your computer, distribute it into your TV, whatever direction you want to go with it. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We are all done with the Crash Course podcast for today. We'll be back with a live show tomorrow. Probably back right here in the same spot, right in the same time slot as well. And we'll be catching up with you guys next time. But we're going to take a couple hours off. Hopefully everybody is online, jumping on there, tuning in with the pay-per-view. We'll see you later on. Whoa! Why did that do that?
Good thing we're already hefted up.
Wow.
That was a big one.
The Crash Course Live is presented by the Derby, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and Speedway Motors, DerbyKeys.com, New York Slider Shaft, Baldwin Racing Engines, Performance Rear Ends, and Chambliss Welding.
I think you're gonna it'd be nice to have it capture an awesome video clip, something like that from out here. There's gonna be some devastating shots.